Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be showing you how to draft these beautiful necklines, and if you're interested in learning this, please keep watching this video. So to draft this, you'll need your pattern paper, you'll need your measuring tape, your scissors, your ruler and your French curve. You'll start by inputting all your vertical measurements, and over here as you can see I marked my shoulder to chest line, which is 8 inches, shoulder to bust line 10 inches, and shoulder to under bust 14 inches, shoulder to waistline 16 inches. I marked at both ends just so that I can achieve a straight line. Take your time to draw your lines and make sure that your lines are straight. So over here I have my chest line, I have my bust line, I have my under bust and my waistline. So the next thing you do is to divide your shoulder measurement by 2 and add 0.5 inch to that if you'll be attaching a sleeve to your dress. And for the neck width, mark 3 inches as your neck width. Also mark your shoulder measurement on your chest line and connect the 2 points together, and also go down by 1 inch on that line and connect it to your neck width to make your shoulder slope. Now on that chest line, divide your bust circumference by 2 and mark the points there, and whatsoever you have as your armhole depth, you divide it by 2 and then go in by half of an inch. You'll be connecting the 3 points together to make your armhole curve. So I'm retaking my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 9.5 inches. Went ahead to divide my armhole depth and also went in by half of an inch and connecting the 3 points together with my French curve. So guys, for the next step, you'll be dividing your nipple to nipple measurement by 2. Mine is 7 inches, and 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5 inches. Whatsoever you have, you will mark that on the bust line, on the under bust line and on the waistline. Go down by 1 inch from your bust line, and on the waistline mark half an inch on both sides of your line to make your dart legs. So when you're done with that, you will head over to the chest line. You will go up by 4 inches or 4.5 inches just to get that curve effect on the neck area, and then you will use a French curve to connect it to the armhole. Just like I said earlier, you can mark 4 inches or 4.5 inches above the chest line at the center front, and then use a French curve to connect it to the armhole, which is at the side. Now on that point where you have your armhole curve and your armhole depth, where the two lines meet, at that point there you will connect it to the neck width. From that point, make a straight line to the neck width. Just connect the 2 points together. Just mark about 2 inches from that line to get the part where your illusion net will be, and the shaded part here is where my illusion net will be. So I'm just going to go ahead now to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, my waist circumference divided by 4 plus my 1 inch dart intake, and then adding 1.5 inches as my sewing allowance. And that will be all for this pattern, guys. So I'm just going to cut this out, cutting out this part here. So this is where my illusion net is going to be. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. So after cutting out my pattern, this is what it looks like, and as you can see, the shaded part is where my illusion net is going to be. So guys, this is all for the drafting of the first neckline. So guys, for the second neckline, go ahead and mark all your vertical measurements. I'm using a different vertical measurement for this bustier pattern. Mark 3.5 inches as your neck width and 2 inches as your neck depth. Also go down by 1 inch on your armhole depth and connect it to the neck width for your shoulder slope, and also make your round neckline. Now on the chest line, mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Mine is 9.5 inches. Divide what is left as your armhole depth and mark 1/2 inch inwards, and use a French curve to connect the 3 points together like this. Go ahead and divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and mark whatsoever you have on the bust line, the under bust line, and on the waistline. Use your ruler to connect the 3 points together, and then whatsoever you have left as your shoulder length, divide that by 2 and connect that point to the bust line. Now on the waistline, you will mark 1/2 inch to the side going towards the center front and 1.5 inches to the side going towards the side front. Now mark 1 inch below the bust line and use a French curve to connect that point to the under bust line. When you're done with that, move over to the chest line and mark 1.5 inches upwards and connect it to the armhole. You can as well use your French curve to do this, or you can use your hand to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and trace this out a little bit so that my curve looks perfect. So on this line here, you'll mark 0.7 inch on both sides. This is to avoid gaping, and if you're very busty, you can mark 1 inch on both sides and connect it to the bust line. So here I'm checking if the line I have at the left side is the same length with the line I have at the right side, and it's actually the same thing. But if it's not, make sure to add up for it so that when sewing you won't have any shortage. So guys, on your round neckline, go in by 1.5 inches and connect that point to where your armhole curve and armhole depth meet. You'll be connecting that point 1.5 inches. You'll be connecting it to where this point meets, where your armhole curve and armhole depth meet. So guys, when you're done with that, it means you're almost through with drafting the second neckline, and the next thing you will do is to mark your bust circumference divided by 2 on the chest line, and whatsoever you have on that space there, you will be replacing it. Also mark your under bust circumference divided by 4 and add 2 inches as your dart intake. Do the same for the waistline. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4 and add 2 inches as your dart intake, and connect the 3 points together. So I'm just using my French curve to smoothen this part because I don't want to have any sharp edge while sewing. This pattern is where my illusion net is going to be, so you can go ahead and add sewing allowance to your pattern, but I decided to leave mine like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this pattern out. guys, this is all for the drafting of the second neckline, and please make sure to cut out the shaded part of your bustier pattern. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe and also drop a comment in the comment section. See you in my next video. Bye.